Hello there folks, and welcome to this Explain 11 beta video. In the previous video we took a look mainly at the user interface and the differences between Explain 11 and Explain 10. In this video we're going to be taking a closer look at Autogen, backward compatibility, and a little bit of performance. Now it is too early to judge performance in this beta release. However, I think a lot of you have been asking me about performance. Some of you are having issues with performance, so I do want to highlight a few things regarding that in this video. We are currently situated at LaGuardia Airport, runway 22, and we're going to take off, make a right turn, and we're going to head over to the buildings on the right of the airport. So let's go ahead and release the parking brake and depart LaGuardia. I'll tell you guys, I'm a bit tempted to change the runway textures. I did test the FlyJSIM runway textures and skid marks, and let me tell you, they look absolutely great. So 80 knots, alright, I think that's good enough. Can rotate. Okay, and positive rate, gear up. We are now approaching the city, and as you can see, the scene is absolutely incredible, given the fact that this is just default scenery. So what you're seeing on the screen is nothing but default Explain 11. There is really nothing, no meshes, no scenery installed, nothing. This is just Explain 11 default. Okay, let's make a turn here. Outstanding. Really outstanding. For default scenery, this is very good. Looks like we're a bit slow. We're stalling. Alright. There we go. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start changing the time a bit. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Just really beautiful. Now, I do apologize, guys, for not being able to respond to all the comments on the previous video like I normally do, but the number of comments was simply overwhelming, and I just really couldn't do it. But look at this Autogen looks fabulous, and you know, I'm flying now into extremely dense scenery, so this scenery is extremely involved, and the performance is pretty good. It's pretty fluid, no stuttering, and everything really looks marvelous. Okay, let's go ahead and by the way, I've turned threaded optimization. I changed it back to auto, and I'm noticing no stuttering at all. This is actually pretty good performance. There we go. Change the time a bit. Now, one of the things you'll notice in Explain 11 is you'll notice the white lights in smaller streets, and that was missing in Explain 10. And the buildings now, some of the buildings are lit up, and that was also something missing in Explain 10. Now, of course, there were a lot of add-ons, a lot of replacement textures that you could use to get the same effect, but now this is resolved in Explain 11, and by default you get some really outstanding looking scenery all over. Yeah, the Autogen is marvelous. Alright, and let's go ahead and turn it into nighttime. Well, almost nighttime. Now I'm getting this weird jumping around here of and right over there, and I think that's an issue that I need to report to Laminar Research. But other than that, this looks incredible. Look at that. Just really incredible. And if you recall, in X-Plane 10, as you kind of flew around the city, the lights would pop up from the distance. And so far, I can't really detect this problem in X-Plane 11. I'm not sure if it's because I'm at a lower altitude or if that problem is fixed, but I'm not seeing any popping of lights in the distance, so that's pretty good. Well, let's make a turn here. And let's change the time just a notch. Now we can look at the city at night. Beautiful lighting. And I really, other than the bluish kind of haze in the distance, I really don't see a reason why we should use real Terra haze now. I know that SkyMax Pro version 4 will be released soon, and I've seen some of the screenshot, and let me tell you, they look outstanding. But there is another program that I'm not sure what that is. I think that's also in the release notes of Laminar Research, that this is an issue that they need to fix. Yeah, I think that's mentioned in the release notes. So as you can see, we are now at nighttime, and it looks fantastic. It really does look very well done, and it gives you that feel of flying at night for sure. So there is another program, supposedly a SkyMax Pro alternative. I forget the name. X Environment, I believe, is the name of the program. It isn't released yet, but I've taken a look at the some of the screenshots, and let me tell you, that program, if it's going to explain what it says it's going to do, and if it's going to look anywhere near what those screenshots looked like, I'm going to tell you it's probably going to be the program of choice for weather representation in X-Plane. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to one of the payware airports that I have for X-Plane 10. We're going to load it up in X-Plane 11, and we're going to take a look and see how it looks. Alright folks, what you're looking at is Aerosoft Dublin. And the reason why I selected this airport first is that this is a really old scenery for X-Plane. And the only thing I've done is I copied Aerosoft Dublin from my X-Plane 10 folder to my X-Plane 11 folder. It works fine. There are no errors in the log. Everything looks as it should, and it looks fantastic. So this is what the airport looks like at night, and probably you can notice that these lights don't look very good. And the reason why, I think, is because this scenery is a really old scenery. But it still works with no problems whatsoever. So let's go ahead and take a look at another airport. The next airport that I want to show you is Nice Airport in France. Now, this scenery package is a modern scenery package and is developed by JustSim and provided courtesy of the Future Game Shop, a Q8 Pilot Channel sponsor. And as you can see, the airport looks gorgeous in X-Plane 11. Again, I checked the X-Plane log. There are no errors whatsoever in the log, so everything has loaded correctly. The lights, as you can see, they look phenomenal in X-Plane 11. Look at that. So in my personal opinion, the lights in this airport actually look much better in X-Plane 11 than they look in X-Plane 10. So again, it looks like the scenery, as far as backward compatibility is concerned, your scenery packages, no matter how old they are, they will probably work in X-Plane 11. So if your scenery packages worked well in X-Plane 10, they'll probably work well in X-Plane 11 as well. And now, the answer to the big question that everybody has been asking: will the add-on aircraft I paid for X-Plane 10 work in X-Plane 11? And guys, there is really no yes and no answer to this question. The only way that you can do this is by trial. So if you want to try an aircraft from X-Plane 10, just go ahead and paste it into the aircraft folder in X-Plane 11 and see if it works. Now, I'm by no means recommending that you do this for a lot of different reasons. I really don't know what the effect of that would be. It might crash your, I don't know, graphic card, or it might have undesired results. But some aircraft actually work without incident in X-Plane 11. And what you're seeing on the screen is the Coronado B1900. So I was able to, load this aircraft, start it up, and I taxied a little bit. It works fine. The flight factor range, however, did not work at all. The aircraft actually would load, but then the avionics, the custom avionics, does not. And then, all your instruments will be turned off while the engines are running. And Flight Factor actually have put a notice that there will be updates. So they will have two types of updates. An update where an aircraft is updated to take advantage of the X-Plane 11 features, and that will have a certain price associated with it to upgrade that aircraft to X-Plane 11. Now the 757 version 2 is exempted because when you purchase that aircraft, it includes the updates for X-Plane 10 and 11. But for example, for the 767 and the 777 by Flight Factor, there will be a fee to upgrade to X-Plane 11. Now, the first type, as I've mentioned, is going to be an aircraft where it is updated to take advantage of the X-Plane 11 features, and another kind of update to maybe the older range of aircraft, such as the Flight Factor 777. This aircraft is going to receive updates so that it works in X-Plane 11 in the same exact way it works in X-Plane 10, but it will not be using the additional features that X-Plane 11 brings. So it's going to be a minor update, and probably you should expect a minor fee for that update. And I'm not going to get into the fee war and why developers should or should not charge. It's my personal opinion that for any major upgrades that developers should charge for their work. For minor upgrades, yes, it might be included in the original purchase. I have received so many comments, and some of them were not very nice, to be frank. Now, of course, my policy on the channel is that you're entitled to your opinion, whether you're criticizing the video or in payware, or you're criticizing me. Personally, that's perfectly fine with me, as long as it is constructive criticism. There is really zero tolerance for hate speech or vulgarity or inappropriate language on the channel. So with that, I will tell you that my personal opinion is that yes, the developers should charge a small fee or a fee that they feel is appropriate for the amount of work that they're going to be doing to upgrade their aircraft for X-Plane 11. In terms of performance in X-Plane 11, it's of course way too soon to judge the performance as this is a beta release. And there are a few notes that I do want to share with you just in terms of performance. If you recall my complete settings guide for X-Plane 10.5, this is the same exact location, which is Mollis Airport in Switzerland. And for those of you who missed that video, I like this location specifically because of the nature of the location. It's very mountainous. It pushes the GPU to its limit. It's got lots of trees and shadows, and that pushes the CPU to the limit. And it's got water bodies. So it really has a combination of everything. It's got water, it's got mountains, it's got trees. So it's a good place to test your sim for performance. And now if you look at the performance counter there, I'm getting about 35 frames. Okay. Now let's take a look at my settings now as it stands. So I have Visual Effects HDR. This is the equivalent of what I had in X-Plane 10 as the HDR was on. Texture quality, this is the max in X-Plane 10. So that's that. This is exactly the same as X-Plane 10. Now, number of rolled objects, I have it at high. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to maximum, okay? And everything else is the same. Draw shadows on scenery. Everything else is fine. I'm going to say done. As you can see, I'm getting about 34 frames at the same location that I did the complete settings guide in X-Plane 10. Now in X-Plane 10, I was getting about 47 frames or so. So the difference is approximately 10 frames, which I think for an unoptimized sim, I think that's still very, very good. So I'm sure there will be more optimizations coming into X-Plane 11, and that should improve the FPS. The one thing to note is that I was getting 47 frames in X-Plane 10 with SkyMax Pro version 3 loaded. So if you recall, in that video, I had SkyMax Pro running, and I also had RTH enabled, which doesn't really eat up that much frames. But if I were to say what would be the hit, it's probably going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 15 to 20 FPS between X-Plane 10 and X-Plane 11 with maximum settings. If you're getting low frames, if you're getting anything below 5 with minimal settings, so if you have all your sliders on minimum and you're getting less than 5 frames, then you need to contact Laminar Research. Okay, you need to file for a bug report. They are aware of the regular FPS hit, which is something that I'm experiencing as well. And you guys know I have a very hefty machine. But that is probably normal, and that will be probably improved with time. Make sure your NVIDIA drivers are updated. I did notice some improvement with the latest NVIDIA driver. I hope that you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I hope that it's been an informative and useful video and provided you with more insight into X-Plane 11. Until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye for now.